Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's July 12th, 2023, and we are in the Old Testament book of Joshua. We are going to read chapters 11 and 12 today. All right, so what's happened yesterday was we had the conquest of the southern area of what's going to become Israel, and that went pretty quick. We had the Gibeonites, which are Hittites, a faction of them, had tricked Israelites into making a treaty with them, mutual protection treaty, I guess. All the rest of the tribes in the south realized, oops, this is not a good thing, and they all banded together to attack Gibeon, and Israel came out and fought with them all and beat them all. So that was a pretty quick and decisive victory. Now we're going to start with the northern victory, and that goes a little more slowly. That's more one after the other, after the other, after the other, and they have to march around. Both instances, well, like I said a few times, people read these and they say, "Oh, God is so bloodthirsty. How can you say He's loving and just?" Understand, Israel. First of all of these nations that we're talking about here, we've seen them before. We've seen them already. They were part of God's people, and they walked away, and they turned their back on them, and turned to sin, and the sin got worse, and the sin got worse. So this is God punishing these people finally for their sins, and He's using the Israelite people to punish them. And because of the obedience of the Israelite people, now they become the chosen people, and they start to get the blessings. But if they turn their back on God, then they're going to get punished too. And we see in these here, it's not Israel just going out and slaughtering everyone willy-nilly. These people see the Israelites coming, and they band together, and they march out to fight them. So they're going to fight against God, and they lose. And they're wiped out if they don't surrender, or do something clever like the Gibeons and say, "Oh, you know what? God is all-powerful. We better get on His side, or we're in trouble." After we finish the northern conquest, then we're going to have the chapter 12, which is going to list all of the 31 kings that were conquered by Moses and Joshua. So let's go ahead and we're going to read Joshua chapter 11 and 12. "And it came to pass, when Jabin, king of Hazor, heard these things, that he sent to Jobab, king of Madon, to the king of Shimron, to the king of Ashaph, and to the kings who were from the north, in the mountains, in the plain south of Chinnereth, in the lowland, and in the heights of Dor on the west, to the Canaanites in the east and in the west, the Amorite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Jebusite in the mountains, and the Hivite below Harmon, in the land of Mizpah. So they went out, and they all with their armies with them, as many people as the sand that is on the seashore is in multitude, with very many horses and chariots. And when all these kings had met together, they came and camped together at the waters of Merom to fight against Israel. But the Lord said to Joshua, 'Do not be afraid because of them, for tomorrow about this time I will deliver all of them slain before Israel. You shall hamstring their horses and burn their chariots with fire.' So Joshua and all the people of war with him came against them suddenly by the waters of Merom, and they attacked them. And the Lord delivered them into the hand of Israel, who defeated them and chased them to greater Sidon, to the brook Mizperath, and to the valley of Mizpah eastward. They attacked them until they left none of them remaining. So Joshua did to them as the Lord had told him, and he hamstrung their horses and burned their chariots with fire. Joshua turned back at that time and took Hazor and struck its king with the sword, for Hazor was formerly the head of all those kingdoms. And they struck all the people who were in it with the edge of the sword, utterly destroying them. There was none left breathing. Then he burned Hazor with fire. So all the cities of those kings and all their kings Joshua took and struck with the edge of the sword. He utterly destroyed them, as Moses the servant of the Lord had commanded. But as for the cities that stood on their mounds, Israel burned none of them except Hazor only, which Joshua burned. And all the spoil of these cities and the livestock the children of Israel took as booty for themselves, but they struck every man with the edge of the sword until they had destroyed them, and they left none breathing. As the Lord had commanded Moses his servant, so Moses commanded Joshua, and so Joshua did. He left nothing undone of all that the Lord had commanded Moses. Then Joshua took all this land, the mountains country, all the south, all the land of Goshen, the lowland, and the Jordan plain, the mountains of Israel, and the lowlands from Mount Hadok and the ascent to Seir, even as far as Baal Gad in the valley of Lebanon below Mount Hermon. He captured all their kings and struck them down and killed them. Joshua made war a long time with all those kings. There was not a city that made peace with the children of Israel except the Hivites, the inhabitants of Gibeon. All the others they took in battle. For it was of the Lord to harden their hearts that they should come against Israel in battle, that he might utterly destroy them, and that they might receive no mercy, but that he might destroy them as the Lord had commanded Moses. And at that time Joshua came and cut off the Anakim from the mountains, from Hebron, from Debar, from Anab, from all the mountains of Judah, and from all the mountains of Israel. Joshua utterly destroyed them with their cities. None of the Anakim were left in the land of the children of Israel. They remained only in Gaza, in Gath, and in Ashdod. So Joshua took the whole land according to all that the Lord had said to Moses, and Joshua gave it as an inheritance to Israel according to their divisions by their tribes. Then the land rested from war. These are the kings of the land whom the children of Israel defeated, and whose land they possessed on the other side of the Jordan toward the rising of the sun, from the river Arnon to Mount Hermon and all the eastern Jordan plain. One king was Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon and ruled half of Gilead, from Aroer, which is on the bank of the river Arnon, from the middle of that river even as far as the river Jabbok, which is the border of the Ammonites, and the eastern Jordan plain from the sea of Chinneroth as far as the sea of the Arba, the salt sea. The road to Beth Jebenoth, and southward below the slopes of Pisgah. The other king was Og, king of Bashan, and his territories, who was of the remnant of the giants, who dwelt at Asheroth and at Edai, and reigned over Mount Hermon, over Salak, these are some hard names, over Salca, over all Bashan, as far as the border of the Geshurites and the Mehakathites, and over half of Gilead to the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. That's how you do it. You just keep right on going and trying. These Moses, the servant of the Lord, and the children of Israel had conquered, and Moses, the servant of the Lord, had given it as a possession to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and half the tribe of Manasseh. And these are the kings of the country which Joshua and the children of Israel conquered on his side of the Jordan, on the west, from Baal-Gad in the valley of Lebanon as far as Mount Halak and the ascent to Seir, which Joshua gave to the tribes of Israel as a possession according to their divisions, in the mountain country, in the lowlands, in the Jordan plain, in the slopes, in the wilderness, and in the south. The Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. The king of Jericho, 1. The king of Ai, which is beside Bethel, 1. The king of Jerusalem, 1. The king of Hebron, 1. The king of Jarmuth, 1. The king of Lachish, 1. The king of Eglon, 1. The king of Gezer, 1. The king of Deber, 1. The king of Geder, 1. The king of Hormah, 1. The king of Arad, 1. The king of Libnah, 1. The king of Adullam, 1. The king of Makkedah, 1. The king of Bethel, 1. The king of Tahu, 1. The king of Hephar, 1. The king of Aphek, 1. The king of Lasharon, 1. The king of Madon, 1. The king of Hazar, 1. The king of Shimron Meron, 1. The king of Akusfa, 1. The king of Tanakh, 1. The king of Megiddo, 1. The king of Kadesh, 1. The king of Jokneam and Carmel, 1. The king of Dor and the heights of Dor, 1. The king of the people of Gilgal, 1. The king of Tisra, 1. All the kings, 31. May God bless the reading of his word. May God bless you. Bye.